just a there or them. If you hear any rustling in the background, that's my little brother, or my younger brother. He's not really little. He's actually taller than me, despite being the younger one. I believe he just got Postmates. Yes. He's currently just got the main course out of the bag. Those Postmates bags are a bitch to get through, I'll tell you what. I mean, I know they're just trying to make sure you're safe because of COVID, but Jesus Christ. I'd love to see the process as to just how they get the food in there, because it's a bitch to get the food out. So, like, Christ. Alright. He's got the food out, and he's doing the impossibly... Oh, come on, you can do this. You can do this. He's currently biting against it. And that's what my younger brother's doing. It's the perks of having, not having to ruin yourself. You gotta make sure you're... Damn it. Okay, I can do this. So, this has already gone to shit. I suppose you're wondering as to why I'm even doing this when I can barely keep a conversation going. Well, the truth is that I feel like I need an outlet to explain my problems. Sometimes I'll jumble up on my words and I'll want to quit because, frankly, the worst thing that could happen to me is, well, the worst thing you can say to me is to call me an idiot. I don't like being referred to as an idiot. I'd like to see myself as, like, a moderately intelligent person who has opinions and certain quirks as any other individual, and I'd say that, I'd want to be respected. I want to be respected as a person with his own, worldview or whatnot, but I don't think I have, like, the personality for it, Guys like Joe Rogan, although I'm not his biggest fan, I'd say they're the, I'd say a person like him would have the personality for this sort of thing. You just have to be very opinionated, and you have to say a lot of hot takes. I mean, what's a hot take? Twitter's full of hot takes. I feel like the majority of this podcast will be just shit I've seen on Twitter. Of course, I try to keep away from Twitter. Oh, wait, is the audio on? Hello? I hope the audio's going through. I know I connected it. Can nobody hear me? Hello? 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 That is bizarre. Is there something... I don't hear myself. Hello? Can anybody hear me? I should really check for these things. Crap, this has already gone to hell. Not even sure if my voice is being recorded. Hello? I should really check for these things. Crap, this has already gone to hell. Not even sure if my voice is being recorded. Okay, so, like... Can anybody hear me? My voice sounds like crap from the recording that I'm currently playing back. Hello. Hello. Okay, so, like, can anybody hear me? My voice sounds like crap from the recording that I'm currently playing back. Hello. What is going on? Why can I not be heard? Is this better? Hello? Come on. What is going on? Why can I not be heard? Is this better? Hello? Come on. I think this is gonna work. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus Christ. I was wondering what that shit was. Apparently, I've had the mic in backwards this entire time. Wow. You know, I'm not. I don't even have like a mic stand for this thing. I'm literally holding it in my hand, like I'm at a fucking stand-up comedy. Like, oh my god! Oh Jesus Christ! I was wondering what that shit was. Apparently, I've had the mic. Okay, so I'm sounding considerably decent now. I've realized my own screw up that I goofed. I pulled a goof. I goofed up. And my brother just finished his Postmates. Steak and Shake. I actually just ordered from there. I have the bag right over there. And as I said before, bags impossible to get through. Completely, 100%. I don't know how the fuck they even get the food inside those things. They're like sealed in from like the top. It's just... I'd love to know the process. Hell, I'd love to work at Steak and Shake. I'd love to work anywhere now. I've been out of work for about 3 or 4 months. It's quite a shame, like, because out of all the jobs I would have been working at, or all the jobs I could have gotten, I had to get the one that would have been screwed over by this fucking pandemic more than anything, and more than any other business in America right now. And it's, well, basically, I worked at a movie theater. Yeah, and at the rate this is going, I don't think I'll be working at a movie theater very long, even by the time, like, Florida's, restrictions open up. And, well, this Florida's already open up. I mean, we're like, what, #1 in America right now, and we're just fucking sending our kids back to school willy-nilly. Like, kids don't get sick. Like, they won't get grandma sick. I've barely gotten any type of, like, cold or flu ever since I left, like, the public school system, okay? Public schools are fucking disgusting. Not only are they underfunded, but they're fucking utterly and grotesquely disgusting. And children, even grown ones, in, like, high school and shit, they're going to get sick. They will get sick. They will cough on things. They'll sneeze without, like, covering their fucking mouths with their arms. They will not wash their hands. And I like, take it from a guy who survived the public school system. Okay, if you send your kids to school, they're going to get sick. I don't care if COVID affects them any less than, like, somebody who's fucking 90. They will get sick and they will fucking murder you inadvertently. They will inadvertently cause murder against you. Okay, do not send your fucking kids to the public school system during COVID-19. I'm sorry if I sound like an idiot, but sometimes the words come out and they don't flow as well grammatically as I'd like them to. But you know what? It's whatever. That's probably the issue, that I don't talk to people as often as I should. I'm going to be honest with you. Living through this pandemic has been that rough. People have been telling me that they're, sick of being alone, that they just want to be out there, talking to people, socializing, which is natural, Humans, as a species, we are a naturally sociable species. Sure, I mean, there are plenty of introverts out there, but nobody's completely 100% of an introvert. I think to be an introvert, although it varies in some regards, means that you simply just don't like being around large crowds, that you just, that you find some solace in being alone, but not 100%. I can't even imagine what it'd be like to be the last person on Earth, so... But then again, at the same time, I think I understand what it feels like, to not be able to socialize as well as you should, Granted, that's because I'm autistic and I just simply don't understand, social behavior as much as like a neurotypical person would. And neurotypical, for those of you who are the uninitiated, like I'm quoting fucking Batman now, what neurotypical basically means that your brain functions in what is considered to be, in a, I don't know, societal sense, normal. Whereas me, a person who is of the the autism spectrum, tends to think just a little bit differently than you do. I don't really understand emotions or idioms or expressions as well, although over the course of the 23 or nearly 24 years I've been around in this earth, and receiving the amount of training that I have for my disability, I think I've gotten a little better at understanding that no, there's not really cats and dogs raining from the sky. It's just a fucking expression or an idiom. I don't know. Or metaphor. What the hell would that even be? What the hell? What kind of phrase is it's raining cats and dogs? Let me Google that shit. It's raining cats and dogs. Let's see. It's an idiom. The English idiom is it is raining cats and dogs, used to describe a particularly heavy rain. Okay. It's an idiom. I've gotten better at figuring out idioms and expressions and shit. I remember there was this scene from one of my favorite movies, Good Time, directed by the Safdie brothers. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, because in the past I've often pronounced it as Sadfie, and I'm sure they've gotten that in the past as well, because Lord knows how many people call me Donatello, despite the fact that my name is not Donatello, although, I don't know. But I remember there was a scene from this movie, Good Time, where I think it was Benny Safdie, the director, or I forget which one, but it was actually one of the directors played a character in the film, and he was seeing some kind of behavioral therapist. I actually think the character might have been just on the spectrum, or he might have just suffered from some sort of mental retardation. I'm not sure, but he was receiving the character was receiving some sort of behavioral therapy, and the therapist was asking him a set of questions where he would either use expressions or idioms, and I think the character would, what was his name? I forget his name. Benny Safdie, I hope that's the right one, would often respond with what he would associate that idiom with, or he would he would explain what the idiom meant, or he would try to explain what the idiom meant, and that scene in general just harkened me back to high school, where I would sort of receive training like that, because I got diagnosed with autism in second grade, but didn't really receive any help until high school, I think. Yeah. And like I remember, like during my freshman year, we would be taught like fucking idioms and expressions, and we would try to explain them. My behavioral teacher, my social personal teacher, social personal is the class, is what it was referred to on my schedule. She was a patient woman, but oftentimes she would get really sick of our shit, and which is kind of understandable. Dealing with autistic children 24/7, it ain't easy, and I say this as an autistic person, I can say the N-word because I'm black, so I can speak for a lot of autistic people out there that sometimes our behavior can get fucking annoying, and although it can be hypocritical, even I get sick of it as somebody who is known to constantly piss people off like that. But yeah, Good Time's a good movie. I honestly think the Safdies are currently my favorite directors. Earlier, it was Denis Villeneuve, who is still around like the top 3. But I love the shit out of Uncut Gems. And if I remember correctly, that might have been the last movie I saw in the theater. Actually, he was either that or like Bad Boys 3, which would be kind of sad. But yeah, actually, yeah, it was good time, good time. Uncut Gems. It was Uncut Gems because Uncut Gems was still playing around that time, if I'm not mistaken.
So faded. Time to part ways. Yeah,
Hey, I'm recording.
yeah. Oh.
I'm doing a podcast. Yeah, I really need my own space. I need to save enough. I need to save up enough money so I can move out. I need to get my shit together and get the hell out because I'm gonna tell you, there's a certain age where you should be sharing a room with your little brother, and 23 should not be one of them. I don't want to say that to speak for everybody because I know shit's tough right now and we're all at a financial disadvantage, especially with the current situation. But I want my own room. I want to be able to talk to people without having to watch what I say because I know that somebody else is in the room, and I want to be able to watch my pornography in private. So, you know, shit's wild out here. I actually might be bringing. I might be bringing a guest on, but I'm trying to see how well I can do on my own. I've been listening to a lot of the Bill Burr podcast, the Monday afternoon, Thursday morning podcast or whatever. He's a very interesting individual, that Bill. And I find it blah blah yeah, and I find it cool that he's able to carry a podcast like that on his own with his personality. That takes a lot of talent, and you can tell that's where his improvisational skills come into play. Okay, so what to talk about before I bring a guest over? Oh, that's right. I've been broke. I haven't been able to find a job, and I guess that like millions and millions of other Americans aren't finding much work during all this, and I unfortunately didn't get to apply. I unfortunately don't apply for Daddy Trump Bucks' stimulus check. ah, sorry, I ramble. I unfortunately don't apply for Daddy Trump Bucks, which is what I'm calling the stimulus checks. Good old Daddy Trump. Daddy, I need another stimulus check. I don't have money for Postmates. I don't apply. My mother put me down as a dependent on her tax returns, so unfortunately I don't get anything.
So here's what.
And what else? Still a virgin. Don't worry, don't click out yet. This ain't an incel podcast, but yeah. 23-year-old virgin. Who knows? Might go up to 40. Like that Steve Carell movie. You know, I think being on Twitter might have added to this, but I don't know if the coronavirus situation has strengthened my view on humanity or lessened it. Because I think when you're on Twitter and when you're in this echo chamber where everybody is sharing the same opinion as me, which is that you should wear a mask and try social distancing. When you have that sort of mindset and you're in a room full of people who share that mindset, especially with people who fall on the quote unquote left, you're gonna really be a little reactionary when 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 on your timeline you see nothing but a barrage of quote unquote Karens and quote unquote Kyles refusing to wear masks, refusing to practice social distancing, and basically just I don't know, just displaying this behavior that they don't give a shit about anything, and that their worldview extends only to them and no one else, right? You ever see that video of that one woman who's like, that one girl who I think she even got fired from a job actually, who was at like a dog park or something, and like she didn't want to put like a leash or whatever on her dog or something, and she just goes up to this dude who was recording her, and like he was black, and she just ends up calling. She just starts berating on this motherfucker, and like she even ends up calling the cops on him and says like this African American gentleman or something to that effect is currently bothering me. I'm like, what? First of all, what the fuck does this race have to do with anything? And second of all, the guy's right. It's one of the rules of the park that your dog should be on a leash or wherever the fuck he was talking about. But I don't know. I feel sorry for all the nice Karens out there. I'm sure there are some good people named Karen out there, and they're fine, swell people, okay? And don't get me wrong, I've met a lot of women who've complained about the broken ice machine at McDonald's. As somebody who worked at McDonald's, I've encountered a lot of what you know, Twitter would call a Karen. You know what I mean? It almost feels like a lot of our dialogue comes from Twitter, the slangs we use and shit like that. It's interesting to think about, but I don't know. I try to stay off Twitter. Because you know why? Twitter makes you feel like the world's ending every day. I remember just seeing this. Well, I didn't read the article. I saw the headline, which is what a majority of people do nowadays. I remember no, actually, I did read it. I did read the article. There was this article about doom scrolling where you feel like the world's ending, and so you go searching for more evidence that you're somehow right. It's this almost exposure therapy where you try to trick yourself into thinking that shit's worse than it actually is, and that and it's almost like an excuse for you not to like carry on with like your priorities and shit, which is what usually happens to me. I go out doom scrolling and then I just drop everything because I'm like, fuck it. The world's ending. There's no point to any of this. But after a while, you have to wonder if there's a point to anything, really. I mean, I want to say, like, I keep telling myself that I just want to go back to normal, but, you know, being inside all day and not talking to anybody and avoiding them, that's normal for me. This social distancing shit doesn't bother me. What bothers me is just, like, that that the whole world is turning against itself. People are ugly. They are ugly and just pretentious, self-centered, and Twitter. And I want to believe that that's not true, but Twitter convinces me that it's true, and which is why I try to stay off of it. And I do think that my mental health has improved some because of it, but I don't know. It's a lot to deal with. It's heavy. It's some heavy shit. Okay. I've gone around, 23 minutes? Nearly 30 minutes by myself. That's a record. I usually give up at this point. But, you know, I think it's time to bring in the guest. Alright, let's see him. I really wish I could edit this, but I don't really have the space right now for recording. Alright, he should be joining me any moment. Just gotta make sure that the settings are alright. I can't say that, it's like I said, I was social distancing even before it was cool, even before it was safe to be social distancing. I was social distancing myself from like the world because I have abandonment issues, and I personally just, have trouble connecting with people. It's a wonder that I have any friends. Although most of the friends I have come from other friends. I don't really make friends on my own. I try to, but I don't know. There's always something keeping me from it. especially around older people and authority figures. It's hard for me to get close to people like that. Probably because the majority of the authority figures I've had in my life have been other jackasses. Abusive jackasses, for one thing. You're probably wondering why I call this the Unknown Pleasures podcast. Well, for one thing, it's the name of the first Joy Division album. An album I enjoy. I wouldn't even go as far as to call it one of my favorite albums, because I think with Joy Division, they're good in spades. Closer's the better album anyway. I'd say Closer is one of my favorite albums. And I say this as a person who doesn't even really listen to bands and shit like that. I don't really follow anybody modern. I'll listen to some singles here and there, but I'm not really the type of person to follow a band like that. I guess the closest thing to a modern band I'd follow is Radiohead. Of course, they're not doing much. Tom York's doing solo work. Johnny Greenwood's still scoring movies. I still have yet to watch Phantom Thread. Paul Thomas Anderson is one of my favorite directors ever, and yet Phantom Thread has somehow eluded me. I've tried to watch it so many times, but just the effort, I don't even feel like watching 2-hour movies anymore. Whenever I watch a movie, I try to keep it under like an hour, because I don't know, I have all the time in the world, but having all the time in the world makes you feel like you have no time at all. So I guess in that regard, I just don't like watching 2-hour movies anymore, because frankly, I've found other outlets in my life besides movies. Like drawing, I've gotten really back into drawing. I've spent a majority of my life drawing heads and shit, but frankly, I actually bought a digital tablet, which I have right next to me. You know what? Fuck it. Why don't we make this an art stream? Oh, wait, I can't. I don't have a stand. You know what? Fuck it. I'll improvise. Why not improvise? I think drawing and talking might actually be good for me. Sounds healthy, actually. But first, why don't I just share the stream around, see if anybody wants to watch. I mean, I doubt anybody's watching right now. Is anybody watching right now? I'd love to know. Type in the chat if you're watching. Because I see here that I have one viewer, and I'm going to guess that one viewer's me. Just talking to myself. Alone. In a void. I actually don't know what I'm going to be drawing, but frankly, I'm not going to stress on it. It's when I consider something to be a career is when I lose interest in it. Because suddenly it's not fun anymore. It's just, it's a chore. I don't even like being my own boss. I don't think I could ever be an Uber driver, because then I'd never drive. And then half of my money would be going to repairing the car anyway, right? So is there any point? I don't know. All that shit seems like a bit of a scam if you ask me. But what do I know? I'm not a driver. I suppose some people might want to watch. It's not that late. It's only nearly midnight. Midnight is the new afternoon for me. I've been staying up till 6 a.m. these days. Personally, it's because of the fact that I don't have anything to wake up to. I'm not going to work. I mostly just stay inside and play video games anymore. I mostly just stay inside and play video games these days. Of course, now even that's becoming a chore in some regards. Okay, let's fire up the Clip Studio Paint. Can't say whether or not it's easier than Photoshop. I wouldn't call Photoshop hard to use. It's just that I don't have the computer to use it. Requires a lot of RAM. Not too much RAM. Not as much RAM as something like fucking After Effects, but it tends to crash on me. Not gonna lie. At least the version of Photoshop I was using. Why the fuck do I still have a Twitter? Facebook. Of course, it's all becoming interchangeable now. Only difference between like Facebook and Twitter is that I'm friends with a lot of conservatives, so I get to see their bullshit coronavirus conspiracy theories. Like, I'm pretty sure that I've had at least one or two friends, most of whom I've already unfriended, claim that George Floyd's death was a coronavirus conspiracy theory because the media had suddenly changed the rhetoric that, you know, going outside was dangerous because they weren't pointing that out with the protesters. And when people say media, I immediately assume that they're talking about CNN. Oh, shit. I done goofed. No wonder I haven't getting any viewers. I done goofed. I don't understand YouTube. I've been using it for like the latter half of a decade, and I don't understand it. I fucked up. You would think I would be somewhat internet literate by now, but I'm not. I'm not. Barely even understand how to use Twitch. Although I do like talking on Twitch better, more, I'd say. It's a little easier. Well, I mean, of course it's easier. It's a program that's, you know, meant for streaming. So, in some regards, I like how streamlined it is. It's just that I have more viewers on YouTube, and I doubt that there's anybody on Twitch who wants to watch my content anyway. Okay, but let's fire this up. Just gonna be working on whatever I can until my guest shows up, I suppose. But this is my new outlet now. It's drawing. Drawing keeps me sane, I want to say. It's soothing. It's a soothing practice. And frankly, I think it's good to have other hobbies. Because for the longest time, filmmaking was my only hobby. I dabbled here and there in some things, but... Jesus Christ. As I was saying, I dabbled here and there in some things, but it was never easy. Drawing, on the other hand, you know, it's always been there with me. It's just that I've never really practiced on things like anatomy all that much. I mostly just drew faces, especially of pretty girls, because I'm a simp. Sorry about that. Must have been loud. That's the new umbrella term for like somebody you don't like now, right? Simp. I mean, just claiming that you like a woman apparently makes you a simp now, which is just kind of funny to me. Literally anybody can be a simp. Like, from the best from like my knowledge of the term, you like, can you be in a relationship and still be a simp? Because I've met a lot of dudes, even ones who can be like, classified as quote unquote Casanovas or whatever, who have been like, thrown that word against them, who have had that word thrown against them. But like, from my definition of what that word means, or from what I understand, all right, what am I trying to say? From what I understand as to what that word means, being a simp simply means that you put women on a pedestal, right? That you love them so much to the point where you come off as clingy and they don't want to date you because women aren't into clingy guys. But like, to claim that against somebody who's already in a relationship, who doesn't act clingy, and is generally considered, he doesn't even have to be considered a quote unquote Chad. Is that an insult term? I don't know. But like, is that an insult term? See, that's the thing. I say, no, dude, that guy's a Chad. But from what people have told me, that may or may not be an insult term. So I don't know. I don't want people thinking I'm part of that demographic. But what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't make much sense to call somebody who's already in a relationship a simp. Because, that's not... And they usually call them a simp because of the fact that they called their own girlfriend pretty. And I'm just like, I don't think that's what that means. That this person is in a healthy, functional relationship, while a simp is the type of person to subscribe to an OnlyFans. Or rather, the type of person who thinks that simply because they subscribe to an OnlyFans, that they're dating the person they're subscribed to. At least that's what I think it might mean. It's why I tend not to get obsessed with these buzzwords I hear on or I see on Twitter. Because frankly, those buzzwords, they die out after a while and they lose their original meaning. Okay, boomer? I think somebody once called me a boomer, like as an insult, like it was a legitimate insult. I was once called a boomer. Of course, that's not what that means. It means that you were part of the generation that was born after World War II and who may or may not have fucked up the world. But, like, I'm a fucking millennial, or like a zentennial or whatever. I'm not a boomer. But I guess that doesn't really matter now, does it? Because, like, the original meaning of that word has lost its, original context. It became a meme. And that's what happens with memes, right? They keep evolving to the point where they don't even, to the point where the original context of said meme doesn't even matter anymore. And everybody keeps applying their own meaning to it. It's like fucking... You ever seen that Willy Wonka meme? Where it's from the original movie with Gene Wilder, where he's just looking down slyly at, like, those kids or whatever. In his fucking... in his fucking honey trap candy store factory or whatever. Yeah, I mean, that's like a meme people are familiar with, right? The other day, like, as I said before, I'm friends on Facebook with some conservatives because I live in Florida. Although Florida seems to be a bit wish-washy with what kind of politics it's aligned with. Basically, in Florida, the more north you get, the more Confederate flags you see. That's basically how it is down here. And I remember, like, one of those said conservative friends, like, sharing, like, a don't wear mask meme. Like, oh, you want me to wear a mask? Tough luck, or something like that. And then, right as I saw that post, I scroll down to see another Willy Wonka post that's like, oh, you don't want to wear a mask? Haha, tough luck, eat shit. or something like that. I'm butchering it, but and then it just it's moments like that where don't even ask me why I'm still on Facebook. It's moments like that where I just have to reflect and just remind myself that social media is the worst place for like moderate political discourse because echo chambers. We
Or, uh, sorry,
what?
fuck, I had to go to do something else, and I left my phone
Well,
alone.
you're finally on. I was currently describing a situation in which I saw Willy Wonka. You know that Willy Wonka meme where it's Gene
Which
Wilder.
one?
The one where it's Gene Wilder, and
Oh yeah, I know, I
it's
know.
usually Gene Wilder making a snide comment and shit.
Yeah, no, I remember now.
Yeah, I was
Fuck
describing.
me, it's
Yeah,
over.
I was describing a situation in which Gene Wilder, in which like one of my quote unquote conservative friends on like Facebook was making like an anti don't wear a mask meme, and then as I scrolled down, I immediately saw that another friend who aligns more on the left posted a meme in which they were mocking people who didn't want to wear a mask. And I guess what I was trying to say is that it reminded me that social media is basically a place where it's basically one big safe space and both sides are playing into it. So how have you been,
Yeah.
Charles?
What?
I said how have you been? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry, just got cut off for a second.
Oh, okay.
Just 1 second.
Might be the internet.
Maybe. I was also going to say that I don't think I'm staying here for long because I am very tired.
Oh, I can understand. I mean, we live in different time zones and shit. What time is it over there?
It's almost 11.
Almost 11. Oh, it's actually 11 here. So are you like an hour behind?
Yeah, I guess so.
What, you're tired? It's only 11 o'clock, man. Don't you know?
I'm an early worm, Nas.
Okay. Well, to me, like 11 o'clock is the new 5 p.m. So, I mean,
I have to
granted,
do
like,
school, so
what? Oh, you have school.
yeah, online classes.
Yeah, I remember that. Is there one asshole who refuses to put on his fucking shirt?
No, but there's an asshole who wears there's an asshole who wears a cap indoors in his house while, and I'm like, dude, what the hell, dude?
No, no, he's just gotta make sure he's in like he's fashionably dressed for his Zoom class. Do you guys use Zoom over there, or are you using something else?
We use
Okay. Yeah, my college
yeah.
had like a built-in like system, surprisingly, and I'm pretty sure those are for. I'm pretty sure we already had one for like the online classes anyway, which was news to me because I basically wanted that kind of class format from the moment I started going to community college. But for whatever reason, anytime it said online classes, they weren't even necessarily online. I would still have to go to the campus, which was utter bullshit because I wanted to take those classes, from the safety of my home where I didn't have to commute and shit every day. Christ
Yeah,
almighty.
I mean, the idea of not commuting is good, but at the same time, you, like, I don't know why it feels different
What?
to have online classes than to go to classes because now I feel like I waste more time.
What? Not going to the campus?
Yeah, by not going to the campus, I feel like I'm wasting more time.
Oh, are you? What kind of degree are you going for?
Uh, it's not about that. It's just in general. But I'm doing an English degree.
English degree. I see.
Yeah.
Do you feel like are you saying in the sense that you're not meeting people, so it almost feels like you're that your time is sort of being wasted by the lack of socializing, or is it?
That too, but I mean, like, I feel like all the time I'm saving on commuting and waking up early. I'm just wasting it. I'm not doing anything with it.
Any of the money you're saving?
Money,
Oh, you're not getting.
money.
Well, I guess I'm.
Do you think?
So I guess I'm just not understanding what you mean by you feel like you're wasting time.
I
Are
don't know. I don't know.
are you saying that that well, I mean, to an extent, I think I understand what you're saying because I
Mhm.
guess I guess when you're in like a college setting, you feel the sense of camaraderie that is somehow lost due to not being able to go to your own campus. But the thing with
Yeah.
me is that, I personally didn't talk to anybody on campus all that much anyway, and whenever I did, it doesn't feel like I like legitimately earned any connections. I wish like life was like community where you could somehow end up creating like this own little, you
Yeah,
know,
I mean,
group of
yeah, I
friends.
mean, my class, it was funny because we were like community in a way because we even made an study group for funny enough English class. We Spanish natives were doing our own version of community instead of doing Spanish class. We're doing English class. So yeah.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
was fun, but like, oh, yeah, we weren't exactly them, but it was funny references to make at the time, and everyone thought it was funny. I don't know if they've seen the show already, but they thought it was funny, or at least that's what they say to me, and they are not scared of telling me when my jokes are bad. So yeah.
I see. I personally can't relate. Last time I was in a study
Hmm.
group, I ended up not being able to get to class during like a big presentation. Funny enough, I think that was like actually one of the last things I did before quarantine hit. So I didn't even get to, I don't think I ever figured out whether or not like I they like the group got an A because of me or failed to get an A because of me. But I guess I forgot to do this. Welcome to the Unknown Pleasures podcast. Charles. Charles here is from the
Hey,
Charles
hello.
here is from the Discord that I often frequent. So how's your quarantine been, Charles?
Shit, like shit.
Like shit. How so?
Like, I'm going to be honest. I feel like somebody's drinking my milkshake. Oh, no, no, no.
Wait, what? I don't get it.
Like somebody's drinking my milkshake.
Oh, there will be blood. I see.
Yeah.
That's actually my code name here, Daniel Plainview,
Hmm.
that I use. That is a
Yeah, yeah.
wonderful movie. I actually got to show that to like one of my best friends recently, and he enjoyed it. And
What?
it's huh?
She enjoyed what?
He enjoyed the film There Will Be Blood. I actually showed that to him recently, and he enjoyed it considerably.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Hmm.
Not all people like that movie.
No, and I can understand why. It's confusing. Like if you ask me like which was the more accessible film, that or No Country for Old Men, I would point to No Country for Old Men because No
Yeah,
Country
me too.
for I guess it has a more simpler plot and it's easier to follow, whereas that There Will Be Blood is more of a character piece.
Hmm.
Oh, great. If you I haven't clicked on the link, but I'm actually doing art as I'm talking to you, so if it often feels like I'm distracted at points,
Well,
uh
I'm also distracted. I'm reading two different threads some friend made, so I'm like
oh my
speaking
god.
in Spanish and yeah, no, because the thread is in Spanish, so I'm speaking to you in English.
I
Like,
see.
so I have to think in Spanish and English at the same time, and two separate conversations. By the way, like it's so weird. And I have friends talking to me right now. It's oh my god, it's frustrating, and I love it.
I personally have sort of quit Twitter. I'll go on for a or for like a second or two to say something like, kind of weird and shit, but I try to keep like my stay on there minimal because frankly, and I was talking about this earlier. I kind of find being on there like I kind of find being on Twitter almost makes it feel like the world is on constant end of the world mode 24/7. And frankly, that shit was affecting my health in ways that were not healthy. My mental health in ways that weren't healthy. So I try to keep it down to a minimum.
Yeah, yeah, I understand that. I don't know what I did last time something like that happened to me. Not like Twitter, but other things. Just sometimes you just disconnect, and that helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you need to do the same, and no one judge you or anything, it's actually great you can do that.
Well, at least you can handle it. Props to you for being on there for so long. I mean, there was a time where I was just on there every day, and I mean, looking back at it, it almost feels like a lot of my humor came from that site. Like I would repeat things that I heard on Twitter, but of course they wouldn't work because like the context of the joke just wasn't the same without like the imagery or like the meme. And I think what I was noticing, and this happened especially during the time of the riots, is that there was a certain pattern that of behavior that I exhibited on there that was sort of seeping into real life, where I would. I once heard that Twitter is a place where you pretend that somebody exists, and then you get angry at this pretend individual, and then complain about it.
Oh, yeah, I don't do that.
Well, sometimes it feels like I would do that, where I would see a post, it pissed me off, and then I would like, type out my frustrations against that one post. But then I realized it's just like, this is just one person, and I'm letting him get to me like that.
Yeah, yeah, it's not. It's apart from it not being worth it, it's also very unhealthy to do that.
It is.
Yeah.
What's one? You ever read like a post that just made you so angry, it made your fucking blood boil? What was it?
Sorry, what?
What was the?
Your audio is like
Oh,
failing a bit.
sorry. I was saying, have you ever like seen a post that made you so angry that you just ranted about it for hours to people?
Not for hours, like maybe 1 or 2 tweets.
I think I remember seeing one where it was like, and like thinking back on it, yeah, I mean, it was nothing to get worked up about. Where a woman said something to the effect of, "Men claim that they want to go to therapy, but then just don't."
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember that. You were here saying that too as well
Yeah,
in the Discord.
I don't know. Something about that just rubbed me off the wrong way. I remember just complaining about it to people, but to the a few people, especially on here, just told me it's nothing to get worked up about, and she's probably talking about guys who use women to make. No, no, no. She was probably talking about guys who use women to make them feel better instead of just going to therapy. But then I guess I was like, but she didn't even say that in the tweet. And I think she's like, and they were like, well, she doesn't need to. I suppose because I'm not part of the community that she's referring to. I don't know.
Like sometimes we get like sometimes we take things so personal and we don't know why. It's because we relate to that for a reason, or it's because we are scared they are talking about us and we think they are,
Mm-hmm.
and it scares us because we were thinking, fuck, I don't know how I'm talking here, because we thought we weren't doing that, and there's a part of us like in our heads that are like, oh man, maybe you're doing this, and that
Mm-hmm.
it's horrible.
Sometimes it feels like the internet's canceling you without actually canceling you.
I try to ignore it. It's honestly like it's just a tweet somebody said. Maybe it's funny if I read it another way. So
Are you under the opinion that cancel culture doesn't exist?
I mean, I wouldn't say it doesn't exist, but it doesn't work the way people want to believe it works.
How so?
Like people, oh my god, I just think like honestly, the last time I was mad at somebody, mm, somebody, it was because a tweet of cancel culture. They I don't know if they still are, but listen, this was a guy who's at least like 40 or 50 years old.
Uh huh.
He's a film critic here in Mexico. He's very respected. He started to make threats of of canceling all movie stars, like in an ironic way. And I'm like, dude, you're fucking old. Like, what the fuck are you doing? I just stopped following the guy because I couldn't stand it anymore. I was like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Come on.
Yeah.
You're 40. You're doing things I'm not even doing now, and I'm 20. I used to do that when I was 14. Jesus Christ. And the cancel culture. How can how can you explain cancel culture? Because
Well, it's whatever you get pissed off about, right?
yeah, exactly. Cancel culture is just whatever you think it is, not one thing only.
I mean, yeah.
Generally,
I don't. I
in
mean,
general, it's just people saying to famous people, "Hey, why do you do this? Fuck you." And most of the times, they have a right, in a way, to complain. Like you don't have to complain to famous people for being shitty, but if you want to do it, fucking do it. Like the guy obviously needs somebody to tell them, "Hey, you're a shitty person. Stop."
mm-hmm.
But sometimes people exaggerate things, and I don't remember education really. Sometimes they just like don't think rationally or try to think people aren't like human and can commit mistakes, and they like put every single bad thing they do in a list, and it's like,
In an
okay,
attempt to be a better, in an attempt to be a better society, our constant calling out has like, in a way, made us forget that everybody's capable of making an honest mistake.
yeah, but that's the thing is that's only on the internet.
It
Around the
is,
world, nobody cares.
and it's probably why.
It's just a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing more than that. You can burst it whenever you want, really.
And it's only when you burst out of that bubble does your life start to feel just a tad bit more healthier.
Yeah, yeah. Like you have to understand how things are or how things have to be for you to be better.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually be better.
Well, I suppose I want to work at being a better person.
Yeah.
Can't wait till I'll have all the horrible shit I've done on the internet in a few years.
Yeah, I know. Like, imagine you already have too much self-loathing, and then more people come and they are like, "Hey, fuck you! You say this." I was like, "Oh my god, I regret that. I'm sorry."
Yeah.
But
The worst part is you're on the internet every day that you can't even like chronicle half the shit you do. So if you did say something that was vaguely homophobic or vaguely transphobic or sounded like you were supporting this one politician or whatever, it's just like, what can you do?
I'm gonna be honest. Most of the things I have on the internet at the moment are when I was minor, so I can justify that. But saying I was minor, and I honestly hate myself when I was like, before I was 15, I was a person I didn't like. I don't like at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
and um, yeah, I shit happens, and sometimes I say shit.
It's outside. Oh, it's right there. It's right there. Sorry.
Who's that?
It's my mother.
Your roomie?
Yeah.
Mother. Okay. So yeah, that's what I'm talking like. Sometimes I say shit and I realize it's shit. So either I delete it or I just like leave it there because it's already there and I don't care that much to delete it. Like who's going to see it? Nobody will care. And if somebody says, "Hey, you said this," I just can say, "Hey, I'm sorry. I really fucking hate that I say that or something like that because honestly, my opinion can change."
And I suppose it also just adds to the effect that people think that having a Twitter account is the same as journalism, or sometimes people treat Twitter as journalism. I want to say.
People are just stupid, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Like some online journalists, not all of them, some of them that get articles out of three or two tweets
Mm-hmm.
saying millennials hate this and they want to cancel this old TV show you like. And I'm
You
like,
know,
God damn, God.
because a majority of journalism, because a majority of journalism, for all intents and purposes, is shit, and there's like only like what 20%, or I want to say even 10% that actually is true, legitimate, like cold case journalism, you know. And like, 'cause it just reminds me of something like comicbookreview.com or whatever, like, or CB.
Yeah,
Are you familiar with that site?
yeah, I know that. So I don't even follow it. But every time I see it like once a week at least.
Yeah, and then or they'll sometimes in an attempt to just they'll make them they'll make sorry, they'll make some of the most clickbait, like borderline clickbait even,
Half-ass,
with like barely any
half-ass
yeah, like borderline half-ass clickbait attempts at writing an article. A majority of the time, half of it isn't even spelled right. There's just misspellings everywhere, and frankly, uh, I fall for it here and there. last week they had Last week they'll have an article like top 10 One Piece characters who can beat this character, or they'll be like Dragon Ball. See, I only really click on the manga news, not the comic news, or
Yeah,
Dragon Ball.
sure. We can have our hopes every once in a
Yeah,
while.
you,
I do that too. Whenever I see some announcers like, "Oh, look what rumor! This will happen in the next season of your favorite show." I'm like, I hope it
mm-hmm.
happens, but probably won't because, like it says, it's just rumor. Maybe it's not even that in the headline. Sometimes they just say, "Ah, this is going to happen. Be quiet because it's a
Mm-hmm.
rumor." They never say,
Stranger Things season
"Ah,
4 is gonna do something amazing. Find out what, and then you just find out that they hired like a minor character from a movie or something.
yeah."
Or
I
what's going
I
on?
had a question for Charles, but like
Yeah.
everyone keeps going back and forth, and
Yeah,
I felt
no
kind of
problem.
bad.
Who's
No
this?
problem.
Oh, Nicole Terror. Welcome. Wait. Before you, I should let you know that you're being recorded right now. Me and Charles are in a podcast.
Oh, I guess that's fine.
Okay.
But actually, I think that I had a quick question for Charles. That
What was your question?
So I'm writing a story that's inspired by basically the pre-Columbian Mesoamerican cultures.
Oh, sounds neat.
And then onward.
Let me stop you. I'm Mexican, dude. Okay.
I'm concluding. I'm including both Mesoamerican and Central American like cultures, like of the basically where the Aztec Tenochtitlan was, which is where current day Mexico City is.
Yeah.
And all the way down to the Central American jungle, like with the Mayans, which are like in Guatemala. And, I probably fucked up on that part, so but yeah.
That's all right.
But I had a question, basically, like, so was there any like, is there any Aztec monuments still standing in either Mexico City or surrounding areas?
Aztec, I don't know. I don't think there's any Aztec stuff here. We have El Tajín here in Veracruz. It's somewhere in the state. I don't remember if that's an Aztec thing. Maybe it is. There's also, I forgot the name of the one that's in Yucatan. Okay, there's El Tajín. Okay, look for that.
El Tajín in the
It's in Veracruz. It's a pyramid. It's a pyramid.
Yeah, it's in the Veracruz region, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at it.
There's also one in Yucatan, but I don't remember the name of it. Sorry.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that those were exclusively Mayans, right?
They were Mayans, not Aztecs. So I can tell you, Aztec stuff we don't have because the Spaniards destroyed all after they came here because they were having none of that.
Personal disappointment to my research, but I hope that this long story I'm writing will remain some aspect of faithful to Aztec culture. But
What-
I'm gonna quickly dip. I'm
What?
sorry to
No, wait. Can I ask what the story's about? Because you're actually bringing some light into this podcast.
I mean, for 30 seconds,
Sure.
A 30-second pitch is that
Good old
it's a
30-second
parallel
pitch.
world where inspired by Native American culture with an emphasis on Mesoamerican culture because my mom and others have told me that I'm part Aztec, which is obviously like, you know, the Nahua peoples, which is an ethnic group.
I see.
Hey, but by the way, we don't have any Aztec monuments, but you can try to search for ones that were before.
I'll probably start my search. I'm sorry, guys. Admittedly, I probably shouldn't have come in because I'm
Don't
pretty
worry.
blazed, and that question
Don't
was
worry.
like,
No, you know what? I think being blazed might actually make this far more interesting. So thank you for coming on.
It actually did.
don't worry. I love talking to you guys. It really was a fun, enlightening experience. But if I have any more questions, I promise to PM you, Charles. It was just a once in a random thing.
Yeah, don't worry. It's okay.
Nice seeing you.
Nice talking to you, though.
Yeah, nice to see you again, by the way. You were gone for a long while, my friend.
Yeah, it's the Cosmonaut Variety server was, you know, kind of a lesser focus when I was taking summer classes. But now that it's over and my depression is gone, I'm coming back in, boys.
That's good. We've missed you.
People get here when they have depression. That's the new twist to this whole.
Yeah.
No, but my character. Don't worry, guys. My character arc is finished. We are out of depression. We are motivated. I'm gonna write this story, and it's gonna be killer. 10 out of 10.
And I will patiently wait for it. I'll be there. I'll be the first at Barnes & Noble to pick it up.
All right. I'd love to see you two read it. By the way, you got a lot of people on the servers actually inspired me. So shout out to everyone else. By the way,
Same here. Great people on this server.
I'll talk to you guys later, though.
Okay.
Nice seeing you.
Nice seeing you too.
Bye, Nicole.
Always great to have Nicole Terra on here. Good man. Now, what were you saying before, Charles? Or have you lost your train of thought? Sometimes that happens.
What we were talking about, I don't remember.
I don't even remember what we were talking about. I mean, like I said, we don't have to worry too much about
Yeah.
this is a test of like what will come. I want what?
No, sorry. You go. You were saying.
Like I don't know what I want for this podcast. All I know is that I think with quarantine, I need some kind of outlet, and I think this might be a good one. Making a podcast.
Do you think we should talk about time loop movies?
Type of movies. Well, we could talk about one movie that's never coming out.
Time loops.
Time, time loop movies. Oh, well, I can't think of any besides Groundhog Day. And I've seen a few. Like
Yeah,
like Kill, Die, Repeat, or Edge of Tomorrow. Like they changed the name after it was released, right?
yeah, they changed it, and now nobody knows what's the name of the.
Of the original. Because now
The
they...
original is Age of Tomorrow, but then they changed it to Kill Die Repeat. So maybe when the sequel comes out, if there's one.
I don't think there's going to be a sequel. Nobody really went to see that, right? Because it just looked like a generic... It had an interesting premise, but it kind of just looked like a Tom Cruise picture. Where...
They say they are developing the sequel, but they are also developing the Crow reboot since many years ago.
They've been developing the Akira movie for about 20 years now.
And
So-
that was about to become reality.
That was because I think because of some kind of law that was passed in San Francisco, and it was even being backed by Leonardo DiCaprio. That
No,
and it was
I
actually
have
going to
no
be.
idea about that.
Yeah. I remember reading back about it because I've been following like this information for a couple of years now. That
No, but like last year, Taika Waititi was supposed to direct Akira.
oh yeah, but he pushed it back. But it was actually going to that's what this was leading. That's what I was leading into. Because of some kind of tax law in California, the film was going to be filmed. The Akira movie was going to be filmed in Los Angeles, and Taika Waititi was indeed set to direct it, but shit got pushed back, and now I don't know if that movie's ever going to come out.
Yeah, nobody knows.
I'd love to see it, I mean, I'm not even expecting it to be perfect or to be like a visual masterpiece or anything. I would just generally like to see that world come to life and just generally be okay as a film.
Yeah, I'd like to see that Akira, what's the name, motorcycle shot.
Yeah.
See how it looks in real life.
I mean, it would just be like I don't think it'd
that
be,
happens in the movie. I'm just out.
yeah.
Of cinema.
I don't think it'd be as smooth as like the actual animated film, but I just generally want to see what you read the stories about that project. It's a fucking horror show. And did you know that was being produced by John Peterson or whatever, or John Peters? What's his name? The guy who produced The Death of Superman Lives. Have you heard about that story? He was actually producing at one point.
The fucking spider guy?
Yeah, always on about the fucking spider. He was actually producing it. So, I don't know, maybe Tetsuo would have transformed into a giant spider at the end. You know?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
That would have been an experience.
So, but I do wonder, what the hell is with the spiders? Like,
Maybe it's just like he's just got this strange fascination. Maybe he's got some kind of fetish. You know what I mean?
yeah, but like,
He's trying to live out his fetish on screen.
spiders or something.
Well, you know, Charles. Spiders are the most dangerous animal in the animal kingdom, or one of the, whatever the fuck he would say.
Yeah, also spiders have like 8 legs, so maybe they also have 8 feet. So, I mean, maybe.
8 feet?
Tarantino joke.
You,
Tarantino joke.
wait, are you trying to imply he has a foot fetish?
Tarantino joke, yeah.
Did you know a lot of people actually assume that Joss Whedon has a foot fetish?
Yeah, I can't believe that.
I mean, I can believe that Joss Whedon can be as. I mean, no allegation. Well, unless you count the allegations that have come from what's his name, Ray Fisher, the guy who plays Cyborg. I mean,
I can't believe that. But, like, there are allegations that we are legally not allowed to say if they are true or not.
well, no. I'm like, hey, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he's actually done anything wrong, but like, Ray Fisher seems like he's. And even James Masters has like come up and said like, yeah, when I was getting popular as Spike on Buffy, he came up to me and's like, and apparently James Masters, I remember reading an article about this, claims that Joss Whedon actually pushed him up against a wall, and he's like, and was like, I don't care how popular you are, fucker, you're dead. Or like he's like, if I say you die, you die. So yeah, I guess. There might be some truth to like Ray Fisher's accusations here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say, yeah, it's true, everything.
Oh, me neither. Innocent until proven guilty, but.
Well, like, yeah, I can't see, like, Ray Fisher being right.
Mm-hmm. To an extent, because it's like, I don't believe in trial by Twitter. I believe in like trial by jury, but only
Too many
huh?
background.
Yeah, there's too many.
Background of everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of angles, and plus it's Hollywood, so there's a lot of egoism, and I hate myself because you want to know what was my first thought when I read Ray Fisher's allegations.
Okay, let me guess. Because you might be wrong, depending on, or if I guess right.
Uh-huh.
Were you thinking that he's not an abuser?
Well, no. My first thought was, man, Joss Whedon must have cut off a lot of Cyborg screen time, huh? Really wants that
Yeah.
solo movie.
No, actually that too, probably.
Yeah, because I wonder, did Joss Whedon do anything, or is he angry about the fact that he's not getting that Cyborg solo movie anymore
I mean,
because the movie was a piece of shit from his directing?
probably the summation of the two things.
But here's the thing: I don't want to say that's true because that's bordering on victim blaming, and I'll be closely following the case. No, actually, no, I won't. I don't care. Don't believe it or not. There was
I
a.
don't care either.
Mhm.
I'm just like watching the tweets
Mhm.
and that's it, but I don't follow it.
You sc-
Honestly, yeah, I can see Ray Fisher being like, okay, I did this movie, I have no other projects, they cut out my time in the movie,
Uh-huh.
and now I'm really not going to get my cyborg movie, and honestly, I am pissed off because I had to deal with Josh Whedon. Maybe that's what it is.
Uh-huh.
It's like he has nothing to lose.
If only the
He
true
actually has nothing to lose. He has nothing.
Ray Fisher. Well, yeah. I mean, he was getting big for a while, but it seems like these actors, once they get into these superhero movies, they stick to those superhero movies because that's where the money is. And to lose that kind of money and not have any other projects coming up, or at least not ones that will pay as much bank as those superhero movies. I'm guessing that if you were to infer that Ray Fisher has some kind of stack in these deck of cards, you wouldn't be completely wrong, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah, like I'm not going to say, oh yeah, just Ray Fisher is right.
Mhm.
I'm like, no, the guy obviously has something
Mm-hmm.
against against Joss Whedon, and not only I don't mean this only like against himself, like I also actual hate them because he's going full on with it.
Who, Joss Whedon?
No, Ray Fisher. Ray Fisher
Oh, okay.
is going all full with it.
Yeah,
Joss
he's like
Whedon's
he's thinking of.
Joss Whedon is just quiet. He knows what to do.
He's even he's even claiming like he'll bring like an investigation on forward. So if he's going that far, yeah, I guess there's some truth to this, at least
He
for
has
him.
something at least.
Mm-hmm. You don't know. The worst thing I've heard about Joss Whedon is that he constantly cheated on his wife. Yeah, that's about it, right? It's funny now. You're scrolling through social media. You see a pic of a celebrity. Your one instinct is, oh my God, what did he do? And then it's like and then I don't know if this says anything about me, but reading like that all he did was cheat on his wife was a sigh of relief.
I mean, it's not like he cheated on his wife. It's like he used feminism to cheat on his wife.
Oh, is that it? Did he?
Yeah.
Or wait, can you use feminism to cheat on your wife? 'Cause
Yeah, he used feminism as an argument as to why he cheated on his wife. I mean, he used it to get the woman he cheated on his wife with.
What? Explain it to me. I'm lost.
Okay, like Joss Whedon allegedly said like his wife will be mad about him cheating on her because feminism apparently, and then the girls he got with, they were with him because Buffy and
Yeah, money.
Buffy was not only money, well also because how Buffy was this breakthrough TV series for women
Uh huh.
and all that. Like we don't abuse his power, and he abused also his influence in the feminist movement thanks to Buffy.
To get women to sleep with him.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I guess I didn't read much into it, so I didn't know. But I hate myself for this because
To be honest with you,
huh?
I read it because at the moment I was mad at Justice League.
Oh, okay. I didn't
Yeah,
care much
yeah,
for Justice League.
I 2 months, and then like when 2018 came out, I was like, I got over this.
Oh, you were actually part of the Snyder Cut crowd?
For 2 months.
I didn't know much about that.
November. No, wait, no, actually, it was like more of a month because Justice League came out in the middle of November. So
See, I don't.
November and December, and then in January I was done.
I don't remember because I'm gonna be honest with you. Once I saw Justice League, I was like, well, that was about it for me. There's not much I can obsess over here. And I say this as a guy who generally enjoys like DC Comics and the characters and stuff. That Justice League just didn't do much for me. And I didn't really. The last thing on my mind was that there might have been a Snyder Cut. So for HBO Max to now be advertising it as like one of the biggest things on their brand is comical to me. But I'm still interested in seeing it as somebody who's interested in like just film production and how editing can like affect a picture. And according to Zack Snyder, there's gonna be no like Joss Whedon footage in the film.
Yeah, no, just with
How much did he film?
Okay. The thing is this. From what I heard from like these aren't reliable sources, and this information I read a long time ago, so I don't know how real it is. But from what I heard, what happened was that Joss Whedon was supposed to film additional scenes when Zack Snyder took off because of the death of his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's like it's hard to say it, but that's what happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, he did that, and then Warner Bros said to Joss Whedon, "Hey, we want you to reshoot like 80% of this movie."
80%, and
I mean, the number is not accurate. I can't say he reshoot the 80% of the movie. Maybe I think I confused it with Solo percentage.
Mhm.
That's from Howard directed.
okay.
But he directed, I believe, like 1/3 of the movie.
I see.
It's funny because third sounds like third.
What?
But I believe third sounds like third.
Oh, okay. I get you.
Yeah, and that's what, and that's because he got I forgot the name. Like he is accredited in the writing.
Chris Terrio.
Chris Terrio wrote the original screenplay, then they added Joss Whedon to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how much he rewrote and directed.
I see.
He got in the screenplay. Like,
So-
his supports were at least more than 33%.
Which is why the film sort of comes off as a bit of a Frankenstein monster.
Yeah, and I honestly hate the red color in that movie. The color grading.
The color grading. Yeah, because it
hurts my eyes.
it almost feels like they're color grading over Joss Whedon footage, which is dark with lots of contrast.
Zack Snyder.
Uh-huh.
Zack Snyder's good.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I can say about Zack Snyder is I don't think he's much of a director in like the storytelling sense, but he is able to create a lot of visually stunning images, and I'll give him that much.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a fan of Batman vs Superman, but I know that.
You actually like Batman v Superman?
Yeah, the 3-hour version. I don't watch it like I don't watch it all the time. But I like that movie. But I know it's a bad movie. I cannot say it's not bad.
But there's aspects of it. You know, I'll give it this much. My opinion on that movie is that okay, plot wise, it's pretty dumb. Doesn't make much sense. But when I watch it compared to something like Justice League, I can tell this is somebody's vision. Okay, this doesn't feel like a corporate product. The Justice League film, the Justice League scene, the Justice League film scene was definitely like a fucking a by committee decision. But like, I guess like my favorite scene from that movie is really just Superman's funeral. That entire sequence that's the one that's.
The beginning of the movie, like
What?
It's the beginning of the movie. Oh, or you're talking about versus Superman.
Batman v Superman was actually like my favorite. Like my favorite segment from Batman v Superman was literally just. I think the one scene that stuck in my head was the funeral scene because I thought that was a pretty well directed sequence, which is what Josh Whedon is good at. But
That was Zack Snyder.
mm-hmm. Oh, Zack Snyder. I'm getting them all mixed up because I'm drawing and talking and thinking at the same time. But because here's the thing: Joss Whedon is not a good director. And as a matter of fact, he's a very poor director. And the first Avengers movie was a fluke.
I can see that.
It was a well-directed fluke. It was a well-directed fluke.
The thing is, like, can only make it so. He works better when it's like minimal stuff.
Yeah, and you can tell that from the fact that the first Avengers movie was a bottle episode, right? The entire film is a bottle episode until the New York segment. And like he's able to like entertain you by keeping the Avengers locked in a helicarrier for a majority of the film.
And which is the best thing? Avengers Age of Ultron?
Huh?
Hawkeye in his car.
What?
The best thing in Age of Ultron is
The whole sequence when they're in the barn talking to each other.
yeah, exactly.
Because that's huh?
When things are small, just with
Yeah, because that's his framework, right? He's used to writing scenes where a bunch of people are in a set because he comes from television. And in television, it's just a bunch of people in a set talking about their feelings, and he has to keep the audience entertained for like a few hours. Of course, that's really changing now with like how cinematic television's becoming. But at the time, I think Joss Whedon was, for all intents and purposes, a fluke.
yeah, I can see that. Like I told you, you can see the shots in Avengers, and they are just simple shots.
They're television. It's television directing.
Yeah, but like I was so thrown like the most complex shot is there's one shot in the movie when we are going to New York and I don't remember where.
Yeah, see, but that's CGI though. That would probably been
That's CGI.
that probably would have been directed by like a second unit, not Josh Whedon. He probably approved the sequence. Don't get me wrong, but
Sam Hargrave did that probably.
yeah, but it was probably just some jackass in the rendering room or whatever who just like animated that shit on his computer for 3 weeks, and then Joss Whedon just nodded and went cool, like Abed from Community. Cool. Where
Probably. You're right about that. So not even that.
and
Come on, I talking about the MCU and how their movies look.
yeah.
They have used this guy Seamus Max something. I forget the name. You can probably like for DP. Let me check that. Fuck, this is right.
Are you saying they've been using the same cinematographer for like?
No, not that. Seamus McGarvey. This guy is great. You know which movies he has done? Not
What?
for the MCU.
What?
Like he has done. Wait for me. He has done Atonement.
What?
He has done. We need to talk about Kevin.
Atonement's like one of the most visually beautiful movies ever, and he was a
He has done Nocturnal Animals. He has done great Bad Times at the El Royale, and he did Avengers. And Avengers is like looks like a TV movie.
It does. And like, did you know that some scenes from that movie were actually shot on a Canon 5D?
On the what?
On a Canon 5D, some scenes from the Avengers were shot on a Canon 5D.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And look, I'm not trying to completely shit on Joss Whedon. It's just that if you were to ask me who would I want directing my movie, but like staying far away from the script, I would say Zack Snyder. But if you were to ask me who I want writing my movie but staying far away from the directing and from the directing side, I would say Joss Whedon.
I don't know about that last one.
Look, Joss Whedon is a good writer. It's so weird, like how.
I'd say this. I would want him on the script, but with somebody checking him, like another screenwriter.
Right, but then again, Age of Ultron was an entire.
When you have Whedon alone, you can get something like the Wonder Woman script he wrote.
Oh, is that a bad script?
It was horrible.
I'll have to read it myself. What happens in it?
It's sexist as fuck.
What? Oh man, is Joss Whedon like? Is he like the equivalent of like J.K. Rowling now? where he was No. I mean in the sense that where he was progressive for the time, but in hindsight, not really.
Was J.K. Rowling ever progressive?
Or yeah, that's the real question. Was she ever progressive or?
J.K. Rowling is like, was she though?
Yeah, because like she added a bunch of races to Hogwarts, like Anthony Goldstein. Not to hark on Marcus's video, but yeah.
Now goes like, what's the name of the new character in Harry Potter? Well, you see, the name is actually Goldstein.
Goldstein.
Sorry, Mrs. Rowling. You say Goldstein? Yes, Goldstein. Why Goldstein? No, because he's a Jew. Oh God.
She is literally, I'm not racist, I have black friends. The person. Like, she personifies that fucking...
I don't know if he can, but he probably voted for Green doing this.
Yeah! Oh, man. She considers The Help to be a shining example of how to fight racism.
Oh, God.
It's weird how everybody's turned against that movie.
Like a few years ago.
People have now turned against that movie. It's amazing how the table has turned.
A few years they were like, oh, The Help's the movie. Now everyone's like, oh no, it's bad.
Because we've woken up to this. We've woken up to that trope, haven't we? Of the white savior.
Yeah, after Hidden Figures, everyone was like, wait a second. That Kevin Costner character isn't real.
No, he's not.
Everyone knows. That's why Green Book wasn't that well.
You have to add that character in so the white people don't get uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
we're
I will say this. Wait. I will say this. There was a very small chance I would have liked Green Book. You know what they for me to like that movie?
What?
They needed to take Viggo Mortensen out and instead put Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell? What? That would have been worse. That would have been
No,
worse.
dude, listen, that guy can make you root for a Nazi. He can make you root for a racist as well.
Are you referring to Jojo Rabbit? Okay.
Like, if that guy can do that, he can do anything.
Yeah, but the point is that you're not supposed to root for these people. Why is it like Viggo Mortensen literally says, "I'm blacker than you"? What the fuck?
Yeah, you're not supposed to root for that guy, but I'm telling you, if they want me to root for him, it has to be Sam Rockwell, because he is the asshole with a heart of gold.
I don't know. I love Sam Rockwell. One of my favorite actors, honestly.
Yeah.
Only he can make George Bush likable in Vice.
I would say only he can make George Bush funnier.
Yeah, than he actually was. I don't think there's any actor that's going to be able to portray Trump correctly. If we
Carell.
yeah, Steve Carell. No. Steve Carell has to play Steve Bannon, or Patton Oswalt has to play Steve Bannon.
Listen, Adam McKay can make that movie.
Adam McKay's already got the script ready. I bet because it's like he,
Right.
huh?
Movie now.
He has the rights.
No,
you're joking. Okay.
Like the guy already is going to make a movie about
Mm-hmm.
coronavirus. He's obviously going to make a movie about
Like
the
it is amazing how
for it to pass over.
it's amazing how like the director of fucking Dodgeball and like some pretty funny movies like Step Brothers has now become.
He didn't do Dodgeball, did he?
Yeah, he did Dodgeball if I'm not mistaken. Did he?
Let me check that.
No, I have to check it as well. Or you'll be the fact checker. You'll be the fact checker of this podcast. We're doing well. We were slowing down there for a second, but like.
No, he didn't direct Dodgeball.
Oh, okay, but did he direct?
Also, Marshall Turner did Dodgeball.
Oh, okay.
He did Step Brothers.
All right. My mistake. I could have sworn he did that movie.
Like, dude, McKay had cameo in The Other Guys. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah, that's like it's a fun movie. I'm not gonna lie. He like some of the best comedies of like.
Aim for the Bushes.
Yeah. Like some of the best comedies from the 2010s come from him. What?
When you see The Other Guys, you understand why that man is Big Short.
Yeah. He has like an understand. He's a funny dude, but like he also has an understanding of like the real world, and it really applies to his movies. Although it's yeah, because sometimes Vice felt like Vice didn't have the strength of The Big Short, in my opinion. Because like it almost felt like you were watching. What?
No, with Vice he went like okay. Let me see. I'm seeing this, and with The Big Short he was like director and writer, but with Vice he was director, writer, and producer.
Ah, all right.
It was a bit over the top some parts.
Sometimes it almost felt like that movie was like a checklist. You know? This is Dick Cheney. These are the bad things he's done. It almost I wouldn't even get the worst biopic I've ever seen, in my opinion, had to have been either the movie about the Motley Crue, The Dirt, or the Steve Jobs movie with Ashton Kutcher. Those are like my two top 10 for being like some of the worst biopics I've ever seen, because those movies almost feel like you're watching a Wikipedia article instead of an actual like grounded film about a person.
Yeah. Okay. Hello.
Hello? Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. You got the sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, I'll do you one better.
What?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody is not that bad. Bohemian Rhapsody is like it's incredibly generic, but and I'm okay.
A fucking guy of the LGBTQ plus community, me, motherfucker.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Oh, I see where you're going.
I feel fucking offended every time I hear about that movie.
Uh-huh.
I see about that movie.
I see.
Not only because it misrepresents the Freddie Mercury sexuality, but because Ryan Singer directed it and
Oh.
has scenes of sexual assault passing by as cute scenes, like, oh, we're in love now, or something like that. Last time we met, like, dude, that's fucked up. Like, it gives me anxiety
Mm-hmm.
to see those scenes. So there are only two.
Especially I don't remember those scenes personally, but I suppose
It's great. It's great you don't, because I remember that.
I suppose considering the allegations against him that might be very true for the most part.
Don't rewatch the X-Men movie, because knowing the allegation, some scenes get
Mm-hmm. I haven't had the urge to rewatch those movies in a while, to be honest with you.
The first two movies, there are some scenes that get extremely close to children, and they feel weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh god, no. watch a movie directed by that guy,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think I will.
Well, I've never seen a Woody Allen picture.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can watch one if you want.
I've granted. I mean, I know I might enjoy one if I actually watch, but I don't know. Something about the guy.
Honest with you,
What?
it's like what the people say about Nolan, that he makes always the same movie.
Woody Allen always makes the same movie.
Yeah, Woody Allen makes a movie every year, so it's worse.
He makes movies about people falling in love, and most of the time it's about like an awkward, nerdy dude with a lot of anxiety who often ends up getting a girl who's way out of his league. And almost every romantic director in history has tried to copy the same style, but to like just to the point where it just almost becomes a parody of itself.
I'm going to say this to you. I tried to make, this year I was going to watch some of his movies, like starting from the beginning, to the newest one.
Mhm.
I stopped after Annie Hall because I was like, the only thing I'm watching here is the guy making his stand-up routine.
Yeah.
over again. Like,
And I say this as somebody who's only seen clips of his.
on there, and they have a banter, and I'm like, oh yeah, something fresh, but most of the time it's just Woody Allen, like, doing a stand-up routine.
He's mumbling, he's jittering over and over again.
And I'm like, I don't care about you.
Mhm.
Like, you tell me something about the characters apart from you, but I don't care about you, not your character. You in general, you are your characters.
Yeah. And sometimes it's hard for him to write outside of that mindset.
I mean, the best movie I've seen of him, and this is a movie I watched like last decade. I don't even remember which last decade. Midnight in Paris and Blue Jasmine. Those are like the only ones I can say that are good.
What do you think? Do you think some people just don't know about his lifestyle, or they just?
Some people don't care.
Yeah, some people just don't care, and that's why they end up working with him.
Well, they cannot care about that. I don't care about. They don't care because.
Mm-hmm. And you also have to like. I also wonder if we just put too much, like we put too much faith in actors. When you think about it, right? Well, we expect them to be. Well, I don't personally, but a lot of people I know do, and it's almost like we expect them to be our moral voice when we, and Hollywood gets it the most for whatever reason. You know, there are plenty of other places that are going through the same problems, but we expect like actors making millions of dollars and more money than we'll ever make in a lifetime to be our moral voice. It doesn't make much sense sometimes. You know, we put too much faith in these people.
There's a time when you just have to let go of the ideal and just start to believe in yourself and other people,
Uh-huh.
especially famous people, because they,
Famous people, I mean, you don't know them for one thing. It's like what they talk about with parasocial relationships, and I'm somebody who falls into that sort of trap all the time because I'm like a lonely person who never really talks to anybody. So like I get attached to like outside influences who I think might affect my personality in some way. But you know, over time you begin to like learn that you shouldn't do that sort of thing because, for one, it's not a healthy mindset. Yeah, until you just don't know these people. You're better off just being by yourself.
you have to learn to be by yourself because most of the times you're going to be like that.
Uh-huh. And you have to learn to trust your own opinion. That's something that I've been learning recently, just to trust my own opinion.
Sometimes you have to also defy your own opinion.
Yes.
Try to see why.
Be brave to be wrong, or be open to being wrong.
Like, fuck, dude. Okay, this is the thing. I can't watch a movie directed by somebody who has like hard allegations against them or like harassment.
And that's understandable, definitely.
But if we're talking about an actor, I really don't care for that.
Mm-hmm.
Actors get lost in their role. Oh my god, example sounds so wrong. But the first example that comes to my mind is Casey Affleck in Manchester by the Sea,
Oh.
because everyone knows that Casey Affleck got sued
Mm-hmm.
for sexual harassment and sexual assault, I think.
Yes.
And then he won the Oscar, and everyone was clapping. And like next year, he was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to the ceremony." Yeah, and I'm like, "Oh, this dude like really got it," and but like he's not like like anymore, I guess. But I see Manchester by the Sea, and I'm like, I don't care. This guy fucking kills it in this movie. Damn it, he does it so well.
Look. It's like you're not appreciating the actor. You're appreciating the character.
Yeah, the work he did.
Yeah, you're appreciating.
Somebody else. Not
Yes,
him.
but you still have to acknowledge that they're an awful person. But
I
if
acknowledge that.
yes,
I can't do that. I was watching the Ocean trilogy last weekend. I saw it before, and he's in those movies, and I'm like, oh God, this is here. I'm like, he doesn't have a big role.
hmm
He's like a secondary character.
but have you ever met any?
Yeah.
Has anybody ever actually given you shit for like watching something with like an actor with an allegation or a director with an allegation? Has anybody ever actually gotten angry at you for that? Because
I don't know what to say. Yeah, I'm watching.
yeah,
No.
you only really ever run into people like that on Twitter or other social media sites, right?
Sorry, what?
Because you only run into that sort of problem when you're somewhere on like Twitter or Facebook, right?
No, nobody calls me out because I never, like, yes, I'm watching this movie, look at me.
Okay.
I don't care, like, I'm just like, yeah, I watched this movie, I like this actor in it, and I know he's like this fucked up guy, but I like the role of him, but I never, like, go off and
Mhm.
say, yeah, you motherfuckers, you don't want this, so you can go fuck yourself, like some people do.
That-
It makes sense to fight that just because you like somebody's acting in a movie doesn't mean you have to defend them.
Yeah. Being an actor is not like is not being an actor is not a defense in court, people. All right, and it's and I can't believe, and the problem is it's like actors seem to think it is. Like I mean, I can't tell you how much respect I lose from Tarantino when I like listen to when I listen to him talk about Roman Polanski. It's like, oh, come on.
Dude, I try to avoid the R guy whenever whatever fucking film I get. I just see what Martin Scorsese has to do about Polanski. I'm like, I don't want to see that. I pretend I don't want to see it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I exhort myself to it, and here's the thing, and it's like, well, even if I did read it, I would tell myself, even if I did read it, how would it affect me as a person? I know the guy's a piece of shit. Everybody else knows that he's a piece of shit. And people in Hollywood, they live under this bubble that they can do whatever they want because they're a celebrity. I mean, that's not even. I mean, that's not even like a theory. It's there. It's like that mindset fucks you over. And
Also, yeah, I want to defend him because he's a good film my chair.
yeah, but it's like, is that?
Some of them were friends in that one.
Mm-hmm.
The guy can't do the fucking shoe in American soil, or he'll go to jail.
Uh huh. And you think?
Honestly, I wouldn't defend him because there's apart from there being other new accusations, like having some sort of whatever the fuck, like he acted of relationship with a minor is just, gosh damn it, like.
Well, he didn't just have relations with the minor. He
Had a relationship. He didn't have a relationship, but he had some sort of relationship with a minor, like.
who?
With,
Roman Polanski?
Yeah, like
No. Roman Polanski drugged and raped a minor.
Okay, no. From what I've read, like after the trial and all, it was just like something. I don't know this demeanor or something like that. Like he touched her.
No.
Thing,
Like no.
like,
What
I
happened?
don't know about the real story. I don't know. But
What
I'm
happened?
saying the trial. Okay, go.
What happened was that he was only going to get charged with a misdemeanor, but then I think he overheard the judge being like, "I don't care what like the prosecution says, I'm sending that guy to jail," which is what made him run away. Like the charge was going to be brought down to a misdemeanor, but he ran out of fear that it would not be. But and it's like he drugged and raped the minor. He didn't just have relations with her, you know.
Yeah, it's been so long. I don't know. It's supposed to be, but I don't care. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
He shouldn't be making movies. He should have done his time in prison. And then, only then, if people let him do movies, then he should have done movies. But like all the movies there,
I don't think he should be winning awards.
Don't exist. Like yeah, neither that. Fuck Caesar awards, man. Like thank God they changed their way of bowling because fuck me.
And I don't think he should have a collection of actors defending him. There's an entire list of people who wrote their names in defense of him to get an award. It's out there.
Like, fuck yeah. Like, I'm telling you, artists can be good, but at the same time they can be.
Here's the thing with me. Artists are people. People can be good or people can be horrible. And these people chose to be horrible. You know?
Yeah, they think they are right because they're doing it.
Because they're making art.
At the same time, it's like, dude, this guy abused his power to make art,
Mm-hmm.
to do horrible things to people, and you want him to make more movies.
It's like we should be open to admitting our mistakes out there, and here's the thing: I can watch Rosemary's Baby just fine, knowing that he did it, because I'm watching Mia Farrow give a wonderful, powerful performance, and I could care less who's behind the lens. But if that affects you, I understand 100%.
I'm telling you, I can't watch a movie of anyone who has been accused of something, and I know about it because I watch it and I get too obsessed over those details about it and how they sometimes relate to the.
Oh my God, like, I am such an idiot. Hang on. Hang on, I messed something up. I have not been recording the drawing page this entire time. Jesus Christ, go on.
Yeah, like I'm telling you, like when I saw Rosemary's Baby last year, I saw it in October because October Halloween horror movies, and I was fucking stressed because Rosemary's Baby is about this woman who's been messed around. And nobody believes her, and everyone who knows what's going on are just lying to her, gaslighting, telling her everything's going to be okay when it's not. And at the end of the day, what happens? She accepts the reality she lives in,
which ironically happened. Which ironically happened to Polanski's victim.
Watch this again. I can't. And I was trying. I wasn't trying to watch. I was thinking of watching the new movie he did recently, the season before, and I was like, no. They say it's good. But I don't want to watch it. That was the movie that when I was debating whether to watch the movie or not. That was the moment when I said, hey, I can't watch any movie with a director who's being accused or has put in jail for any horrible action. Fuck, I just can't. too much for me.
Stuck in the back of your mind.
Maybe somebody else can do it, but not me. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Perfectly understandable.
Yeah.
You know what? We've been going on for a bit, and we're like we're nearly 2 hours in, so why don't we end it here on a very dark note, talking about some very serious subject matter.
We don't have a timeline, so I don't know if we're going to.
No. This was all just a pilot test episode. Next time there will be I'm streaming this live for one thing because I don't have like an external hard drive to record all this shit into, but
Okay.
next time there'll be intros and like pictures and shit and like
Maybe.
audio, but like audio engineering and shit. There'll be all that there. So thank you for coming on the.
Also, I feel like I talk too much.
No. You talking?
You're the actual host of the show, not me.
No, but you're the guest. You should be talking more than me. You know, I want to hear you. I want to hear your point because you bring a different color into the podcast that I can't. And frankly, having somebody else here allows me to, let my frustrations through. It allows me to like ignore my, my faults and just talk as if I'm talking to somebody else, because it's far easier than having to talk by myself and trying to entertain a crowd that's not even listening. So I appreciate you coming on, 100%. We should do this again.
Yeah, we should. We should actually talk about a movie and try to maintain a theme.
I still want to talk about the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
I'm going to try and watch it this weekend.
Okay, and I will as well.
Last time I said the same and I didn't do it.
Well, I know I watched it, but I didn't do the podcast because I got busy with life.